and welcome to Petrolheads London, and we're here with the Jaguar XE. Now, not normally the sort of car I would want to review, but I had the opportunity to have it for a few days, and I just wanted to tell you what I thought about it. And my honest first off impressions, I first got it, I thought, this is a bit of a boat, I'm not sure about this. But do you know what? I've had it for a few days, and I've kind of grown to love it. Let's go and have a look around it, and let me tell you what I think about this car, really. Time for me to tell you a little bit about what I thought about it since I'm driving it. As I said, when I first got it, it felt a bit like a boat. But do you know what? That was like jumping out the F-Titan to this. It was bound to feel bigger. But this thing is bloody comfortable. I mean, it's got loads of space in the front. It's full of gadgets, so really well spec'd. Full infotainment system on it. Only thing I don't like, these small wheels don't look particularly good, and I'm not all that keen on the white. But as a car, it soaks up the miles. Cruising down the motorway just completely soaks up the bumps. I mean, obviously it's a real difference to the sort of cars I'm used to driving, but from this point of view, it actually really just glides along the motorway. This is a 2 litre, and I'm quite honest, I'd say it lacks a bit of punch. Round town, if you give it a bit of beans, it kind of goes all right, but there's definitely a diesel lag on that, and you can feel that. So I think if you're going to go for one, definitely go for the bigger engine. Now, this car for 2 years in a row has been Compact Executive, I think it is, of the year. So 2015 and 2016. When I first jumped in it, as I said, I wasn't all that keen. Now, I actually quite like it. Now, styling wise, again, it's not the sort of car I would go for, but I think Jaguar's got something right with that front. The sides and the back, I think they're a bit sort of vanilla is probably the way I put it. Long. And this thing has been getting sort of 50 to 60 miles per gallon while I've been having it. Now, that's a fallacy in my life most of the time, cars I drive. But it's unbelievable, you know, it's really, really efficient. As I said, you probably get less efficiency out of the larger engine models. So for me, incredibly well spec'd, loads of stuff that comes with standard. It's been really cold mornings, heated windscreen, what a plus for me. I mean, that is brilliant. I've got that on my F-Type as well, but I mean, it's been really needed in these last few days. Heated seats, full infotainment system. We'll have a look around the inside and kind of see what that looks like. But for me, this is an overall thumbs up, and well, you'd expect it to be, wouldn't you? Having won that accolade for 2 years in a row, I'd be foolish to kind of think otherwise. But this is my real honest opinion. As I said, when I first got in it, it felt sort of big and cumbersome. But actually now I've had some time to get to know it and drive it, it doesn't feel all that big actually, and it kind of, you know, it doesn't feel like this sort of big executive car, which, you know, it's kind of on the cusp of being that. So for me, overall, it's probably a thumbs up. So we're inside the car now, and I just thought I'd talk about a few other little bits and pieces. I said it's incredibly well spec'd. You know, I'm not a fan, if you watch my other videos, of the touchscreen, and I'm kind of getting used to it. I also think that you're trying to put too much on the touchscreen, which actually a button down here would be much quicker than going through menus. And menus, the only thing about this as well, and one of the things I noticed when I first got in it, is you can tell it's a diesel. It does sound a little bit like a tractor, and I think, you know, some of those sort of other 6-cylinder cars, rather than, I think this is a 4, obviously sound a bit smoother. So, you know, to me it's a, you know, it's a bit of a downside, but you know, you haven't got any fancy exhaust or noise coming off from that either. But you know, if you're buying this kind of range car, you know, I suppose it's 3 Series BMW, C-Class Mercedes, it's kind of, you know, competes with that, and it's got some nice styling. The other things are, you know, some of this is a bit plasticky, you know, it's got some quite cool styling sort of around the dash here. You can see this sweeping line, and overall it's made pretty well. But I would say it is a bit plasticky in places, you know. even on the centre console around the rising gear knob. Now the rising gear knob, I've not driven a car with those before, and you spend your life grabbing to go for it when you're sort of doing reverse parking or something like that. It's also got a full suite of well, driving modes, and again I sort of picked this up on the F-Pace as well. It's got dynamic, and that's supposed to stiffen the suspension, increase the throttle response, but when you've got a quite gutless 2-litre engine, that makes very minimal difference. So to me, dynamic turns the dials red, and that's about it. I just don't think those kind of add any value. I'm sure the snow and ice and rain mode's probably quite good for that kind of those traction sort of requirements, but I think the rest of it is kind of a bit of a gimmick really, and there's heated seats and stuff like that, which was a bit of a gripe because I think it's standard on this and it wasn't on my F-Type, which is, you know, crazy. But overall, it's a really nice car inside. It's well made, so don't get me wrong, when I say it's plasticky, it's just because, well, it is, but you know, and things like the door cards feel like, the pockets feel a bit plasticky. But, you know, this is, I think it's like sort of 25,500 starting price for these. It's not that bad. You know, if you look at when I reviewed the Mocha, I think that was similar pricing. This is so much more of a car than that. It feels a little bit more special. So I've decided to take a quick seat in the back, and there's not a huge amount of leg room here. I mean, I'm not particularly tall and don't have the seat very far back, and that is one of the drawbacks, and a lot of people talk about it. But, you know, the rest of it inside, nice lights and stuff on the ceiling, you know, so it's kind of like a shrunk down, you know, sort of XF. So, you know, it is quite cramped in the back, so for kids and stuff probably great, but I don't think you want to be 2 and definitely not 3 adults in here for any period of time. Plus side, the seats are really nice and it's quite comfy, and you've got your own heating controls and stuff in here, but it is quite tight in here. Thank you for watching Petrolheads London. Cheers.